railroad. I live in a place that's nicknamed a port city. So, of course, there's tons of railroads here. And school's out for summer. So now is the time to work on all the
Of
railroads,
course.
apparently.
I believe
Uh,
that's a line in the Alice Cooper song, right? Like school's out for summer, time to work on all the railroads. That's yeah.
I think so. I
Oh,
want to say that's how it goes. At least that's how it's been going for the past week. And previously, during the past week, they've put out signs warning you that this road's going to be closed on this day at this time. Not so today.
of course not.
It's
Because I mean,
like,
as long as kids are not in school, nobody else has to do anything. You don't have to commute from work or to work. No, not at
yeah,
all.
the sign closure that I saw yesterday was said that it was going to start at 2 a.m. on June 29th and go until 6 a.m. on June 29th.
And so as we're recording this at 5 p.m. ish on June 28th, that's not within that window. I
Yeah.
don't believe. Like, is time linear? We can go into a
Oh yeah.
super deep
Or
discussion.
is time a flat circle and everything
Yeah,
that has ever happened is happening simultaneously?
and I just saw the Flash last week, so like who knows? So
So was it
like,
good? Was it actually good?
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
The Keaton Batman stuff is Keaton Batman, and it's awesome. Yeah, like I enjoyed it. It deserves a rewatch. Like it's
Is
got some
it
fun,
is it 90 minutes of Batman Keaton?
close to it because it's like a 2.5 hour movie, and like the second and third act is Keaton Batman centric. So
Yeah. So I feel bad for the movie itself. I was talking to my wife about it, and one of the things that I feel like happened with this movie is the external things away from the movie, and people implanted
right.
that into whether or not they wanted to watch it or not. Um,
Yeah,
so
I was having the same conversation, yeah, before and after seeing it. That like if you want to support a project and not support an individual, like you're still supporting everybody else on a project. Like you think about a movie of that size, like you're still supporting everybody who worked on it and put in a lot of hard working hours, I'm sure.
yeah, and I saw that Warner Brothers is going to lose some millions of dollars as a result of people not wanting to watch this movie.
Yeah, yeah, I saw it like 4 days after the release day and it was not very packed.
Yeah, I wanted to see it. I remember the trailer, the Super Bowl spot. Like, how much money did that cost? That's got to be an insane amount for promotion on the advertising side of it. And the other part of it, though, too, is all the stuff that they were planning to jump off of this movie from is also
Right.
now in jeopardy because of
Right.
that
And like
news
there's
ruling.
and like I take everything with a grain of salt on the internet, and coming from the wrestling industry, being in the fitness and wellness and nutrition industry and all the bullshit we've talked about before. Go check out previous podcasts. But yeah, like I take everything with a grain of salt that I ever read on the internet. So like it's like, oh, there was gonna be a Batman Beyond movie and this and that. It's like, yeah, like it's easy to say that now because it sounds cool to go like this is all the stuff we're gonna miss out on.
Right. I don't think there ever was going to be a Batman Beyond movie. I'm more thinking about the next steps of what's going to happen with Superman, Wonder Woman,
Right.
insert other Justice League personality, and other potential Flash projects down the road. Like, that's where, for me, it's like, oh, now that's all in jeopardy because this one did so bad, or is at least projected to do
Right.
very poorly. Maybe outside of the US, it'll go great because,
It's gonna be one of those where they'll it's like every movie now, like it doesn't do well until it's like, oh, there's actually like 4 more hours worth of footage. Like, did you
yeah.
know Zack Snyder actually directed a cut of this one too?
We decided it's that happened with Superman 2, the Donner cut.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen it versus
Yes.
the
Yep. Yep.
original? Yeah.
Yep. Forever to go, but yeah.
Yeah. So they fired Donner and it brought these other people to finish the movie. And then fast forward 20 years, they bring Donner back to re-edit his previously filmed footage to make a new Donner version of the movie.
Like I was reading a thing yesterday from Kevin Smith from his podcast, and he was talking about the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever. Like, I don't think anybody's asking for another cut of Batman Forever. And I unapologetically love that movie. And people look at me like I'm crazy when I say this because they know I'm a diehard Batman fan. That's my favorite Batman movie. I love Batman Forever.
Wow. Out of all of them, I know you've said this to me
Yes.
before. I'm still shocked by that. Out of every
I
time you say
don't
it, I'm
I don't know
amazed that
why.
you would say that.
But I hate Batman and Robin. And as much as we've discussed our love of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I hate
Okay.
Batman and Robin, but I love Batman Forever. And like, yeah, apparently there's a Schumacher cut that's like 2.5 hours. It's much darker. It takes all the campiness out of it. It's like, cool. All right, I'd like to see that. But
I liked Jim Carrey. I thought it was good.
oh, Jim Carrey was not the issue to me in that movie. I think that Tommy Lee Jones playing a caricature of what a comic book villain should be in a movie, like for especially for 1995, like there wasn't this dark universe of everything though.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, for that
No,
example, if you're saying that is your favorite movie, I really did legitimately appreciate Jim Carrey as the Riddler. And I thought Val Kilmer did a great job
oh,
as Batman. So
yeah, tell me, Doctor, do you like the circus? Will always be my favorite line. I think that's the only reason I love that movie.
yeah.
That's just because I rewind literally like at least 10 times that scene every time I watch it and just
Yeah. It's I do enjoy it. I don't have anything against it. I also, similar to you, I dislike Batman and Robin. Not holy sheet metal Batman. No, really, there's holy sheet metal here. They're just really trying to go over the top of that movie. Out of all of those things, when you go to the movies, do you ever get concessions at the movie?
See, I my thing is I try to go to movie theaters now that have bars. It's always fun, like to have a beer or five while I'm watching a movie. It sucks going to see a 2.5 hour movie and constantly getting up, break the seal. Not super medical terminology, right? Like break the seal. I'll always
Right.
love people with that. But I like, yeah, it's but yeah,
Okay.
so that's my main thing. Like occasionally like popcorn. Like if I go to the movies with somebody else that wants popcorn, like you have to eat some of the popcorn. But like if I go to the movies by myself, which I used to do a lot that I enjoy, no, it's just grab like a beer or a water and enjoy it. I'm not a big like movie
So
food fan.
we both enjoy going to the movies.
I know I
And
ruined your transition. I know.
no, no,
And
no. This is perfect. Both enjoy going to the movies. And let's say that you went to a movie every week, which I probably did back when I was in early college or in high school, where you could really do a bunch of different stuff. You were kind of limited. You couldn't get a beer, obviously, back then, anyways. Um, but let's say you did it every week and you're trying to lose weight. Would you continue to eat the same thing at the movies, or would you try to do something different?
I would hope for a magic pill to where I could continue my lifestyle and not have to change anything.
And that is exactly what I think about when I think about GLP-1 agonists. That people have been searching for some magical cure, some magical pill to allow them to make zero changes to their life and somehow magically lose weight.
And this is gonna like I feel like this may be a longer podcast for us because I think I know like I can really get into it. I'm sure you have your thoughts too, and we're gonna be of the same mindset. I think of 98% of it, but I'm gonna be a little probably antagonistic for a little bit of it because I used to work for a company that dealt with GLP-1 medication for each one of its members, and so it was a combination lifestyle modification approach plus the GLP-1 medication. At the end of the day, it's not a magic pill, no matter what. No matter what. Until the end of time, it's still calories in versus calories out. There's a million other factors that have to go into that, but you have to still do that to lose weight. It's, you have to burn more energy than take in. End of story. But and we can. This would be a fun discussion. I think there are some people that it could potentially help. I think there's a lot of people that, like you said, they just want to continue what they're doing. And it's the flavor of the week because you turn on the Academy Awards and there's a joke about it on the opening monologue. It's I'm sure late night shows there's jokes. I watch the Braves game and I see commercials. You see commercials for Viagra and beer, and now it's stuff for GLP-1s. It's insane.
Yeah. It's all nutty to me. And the biggest thing that I see with it is it can be helpful for some people, but I think there's too many people on it that it ends up getting diluted because they all think that they're going to have the same results as that small minority of people and that will expand to all of them, which goes back to the advertisement piece of it, where in the United States, pharmacies and pharmaceutical, not pharmacies, but pharmaceutical companies that produce drugs are allowed to advertise on television at rates that are far greater than
Right.
literally any other country
Right.
in the world. And I think it's because of that and the selling of the emotion that this is going to be the fix that you need is where it ends up mostly getting diluted by people attempting to use it for a purpose that it is not originally intended for.
Yeah, it's off-label use, and I've said this before to people, like even for its intended use, it hasn't been out all that long. This type of medication, what like early 2000s is when it was started to get used for type 2 diabetes. So I think maybe 2003. Somebody don't flame me in the comments if I'm incorrect with that, but let's say 2003. 20 years. 20 years for a drug is relatively short. And then it
I
what
can time out, pause, pause.
boom. All right, so you can actually look that up and make sure I'm
I actually have a thing right here. It's 2005, so you're really close.
oh, sweet.
Really
Okay.
close.
So
Really
all right.
close.
So I was trying to give the benefit of the doubt and say 20 years. So 18 years. There you go. So even less time. Uh, so think about that. And then it didn't start getting used off label for weight loss until what, just a few years ago.
Yeah, 2019 or 2020.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
So think about, we really don't have any longitudinal studies of the long-term ramifications of this. So it may be cool, it can help, but at what cost is always my number one concern with it. My number two thing, we'll go on a diatribe and we can ping pong back and forth. So we've talked about conditionally essential supplements. We talked about ergogenic aids, all that stuff. So I think anybody that's listening to this podcast knows I don't have an issue with any of that. Like, boom, by all means, use stuff to help you with what you're already doing. So, for instance, with this program I used to work with, they filled out this pre-programmed survey, kind of similar to what you'd fill out if you sign up for franchise nutrition and fitness. We kind of understand where you're at, and they would grade themselves on what's your food intake look like, what's your exercise look like, what's your sleep look like, what's your emotional health look like, on a scale of 1 to 10. There were people that would sign up for this program that would grade all those on like a 1 and expect that this was going to magically help. To me, anybody that wants a GLP-1, all these things better be 10. This better be a last ditch effort. It better be I'm killing the gym 5 days a week. It better be I'm portion control, eating my fruits and veggies, and watching what I eat when I go to the movies. Because yes, I think that there are some people that, and what we know, like there are some people that are insulin resistant. There are there's all these other conditions that are going to cause issues. But until you've used every other resource you have, I don't think this should be your first go-to. And I saw plenty of people on this program that went that way, didn't change anything, and they didn't lose weight. Go figure. I saw people that that they were killing it with everything else before, and it was this last ditch like Hail Mary of God, I'm killing myself in the gym. God, I'm restricting calories and I can't do anything. And they continue this very regimented approach. And surprise, a little bit of help metabolically, a little bit of help hormonally with what they were already doing, and it worked wonders. So I think it should be a supplement to other stuff. It's not the be all end all miracle drug.
Yeah, and we jumped into our discussion, and
Right.
just to clarify for people out there that don't know what a GLP-1 is, you should know what it is by now because it's on advertising everywhere.
Right. Yeah, like 6 months ago, I don't think the general population did. And now it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen, which is why this topic came up because I've seen a lot of people with it. But the GLP-1, when you stretch it out, is actually glucagon like peptide 1 receptor agonists, so, or GLP-1 RAs, but people will shrink it to just GLP-1. It's got all these other also known as, but it's a class of medications that has been utilized for treatment of type 2 diabetes, not type 1, type 2. Remember, so that's going to be important for the
Right.
discussion is type 2 diabetes and now obesity. So I'll link what I'm referring to in the show notes. This is from, was put out March 27th, 2023. So 3 months ago. Um, or no, yes, that's correct. The math is
Yes. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
math checks out.
Literally,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, 3 months and a day ago. Yeah. or
um,
I think, yeah, you said 23rd. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah,
3 months.
yeah, 3 months. So the thing is, what Matt is referring to is these drugs have helped change the landscape of how we manage people that are type 2 diabetics with drugs to try to lead them to putting their diabetes into more of a remission. It will not cure it. It will be with you for all time. Diabetes, once you've developed it, if it's type 2 or type 1, is a chronic condition that must be managed. Type 1 is different in that it's an autoimmune condition. And so you don't have, your body's just not producing insulin. So you need to get it from an exogenous sources. In type 2 diabetes, your body has become resistant to the insulin that it already produces, meaning that your insulin is coming out and it's in your body. Your body's just not utilizing it to help move carbohydrates out of the bloodstream and into the cells. So you may then need something that's exogenous, whether it be insulin itself or something such as commonly known metformin. People have heard that, or maybe GLP-1 agonist. That'll help with the regulation of um, your body's creation of glucose in the blood, whereas metformin works by causing your liver to not go through gluconeogenesis, which is the creation of carbohydrates in your blood. GLP-1 agonists work by slowing the release of food from your stomach. So, um, if it's the physiological effect, you'll hear it referred to as gastroparesis. Um, but this causes, with a more simpler way to say it, is delayed gastric emptying. So you eat
And
food.
it's really fun to hear people describe what that feeling's like when on GLP-1s. Like I spent a year and a half working with people that were, yeah, like, and it's funny how they would not lose weight, not lose weight, not lose weight. And then all of a sudden they would lose 5 pounds. And I would tell them it's literally because you're full of shit. Like,
Yeah. So that is one way to lose that weight. How this works well for people that are diabetic is it forces you to think about your portion sizes and portion control. And you can start eating other foods in conjunction. So people that are diabetic will take this medication and make the behavior changes because they're trying to put their type 2 diabetes into remission. Sometimes when people are first, and I'm not saying this happens all the time, but sometimes when people are first diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, they have to use insulin in the beginning. But if they are able to manage their condition, they might be able to make it to where they don't need to use insulin, and maybe they can continue to go further and they don't need to use another drug outside of it, and they can just manage it with their diet for long periods of time, sometimes for the rest of their life, but not all the time. Sometimes they'll have to go back to using something like metformin or GLP-1. Uh, Conversely, though, let's say that you make none of those changes that you should make with it. Those people that are type 2 diabetics that started out with these medications will end up needing insulin because you have to make the food changes. The greatest impact to your blood sugar in your body is the food that you put into your body. Like, I don't care what anybody says. That's just this baseline, and it cannot be refuted. Like, there's um, plenty of other things, but let's say you are sick, you have cancer, you have a wound, you whatever. Yes, that's going to cause your blood sugar to go up, all of those things. But if you had all those things and you drink juice, your blood sugar is going to go up a lot higher. If you had all those things and you had a whole piece of fruit, your blood sugar is going to go up a little bit, but not quite as much as it would with those juice. Right.
It's
So,
weird how, again, the answer seems to be to everything diet and exercise. I don't know how that works. Weird.
yeah. So, one of the things though that I wanted to point out with people that are attempting to utilize GLP-1 for weight loss, and this is kind of more where we're at Franchise Nutrition and Fitness. If you are trying to lose weight or you need to think about doing some nutritional changes or exercise changes to help you lose that weight, head on over to franchisenf.com and sign up for your free meet and greet today. Because that's what we do. And this is where GLP-1 starts to become implicative of what we do. So, on average, in multiple studies, people lost how much weight?
It's what, 10% of their body weights, right? 10 to 15? No, no.
No,
What?
5%.
5%.
5%. So even less. But, and that's versus placebo. So
Right.
that's, you did this, you didn't do anything. When I went in depth digging through these studies, that 5% often equates to somewhere between as little as 2.9 kilos up to a higher number, right? So it could go all the way up to 10, 15, depending on how big a person is. It's a
Right.
percentage of weight. 2.9 kilos, go at the low end, because this is where it gets frustrating to me. 2.9 kilos over an 8-week span of time. So, for those of you that don't do metrics, that is about 6.5 pounds over an 8-week time span.
And what is recommended for healthy weight loss through modification of diet and exercise, Ryan? Per
Somewhere
week.
between 1 to 2 pounds a week. So if it was 8 weeks and you were able to get the maximum amount in there, that would be somewhere between 8 and 16 pounds, which would be greater than a GLP-1 agonist. So when it comes to utilizing this drug, it really does come back to what Matt was saying earlier, that if you don't make any collective behavior and lifestyle modifications with it, you're not maximizing the efficiency of this drug.
I think it kind of goes back similarly when people like, well, I got my Brave shirt on right now. People always talk about the steroid era of baseball. Like, well, he took steroids. He took steroids. He took steroids. Okay, cool. And like he sat on his ass and didn't do anything. Like, no, like people that are taking any sort of ergogenic aid still have to put in the work to see the results of it. Like, Barry Bonds allegedly wasn't sitting around, like eating Fritos and not doing anything. Like he was actually putting in time in the gym, and it showed with the body recomp that he had. Same thing with any individuals on GLP-1 for weight loss. Like you can't just sit there, pump yourself full of that, and go, all right, cool. I'm all of a sudden going to lose weight. You may, because that gastric emptying slows. So therefore, like you said, it's going to help with portion control. You're not going to be hungry. But then what's going to happen as soon as you come off that? You're going
Right.
to gain it right back. Like your appetite's not magically still going to be suppressed.
Right. And I'm just looking over here because I want to make sure that I point this out, because this is a thing that I see that happens a lot with certain medications, especially that are revolved around food. There are a couple of different versions of GLP-1s. I want to say, in the market, there's currently 7 possible versions, I think. I tried to count them all up the other day. So there's 7 or 8. and I'll come back to another thing about that in a second. But there's these numbers, some are injectable versions, some are oral versions, and that the administration of those varies. But specifically with the oral ones, a lot of them are short acting, so they don't last all day long. So that's where a lot of people will not lose any weight because you have to take it within 60 minutes of a meal. And if you don't, so let's say my meal is at 8 o'clock. So I need to take it between 7 and 8. If I take it after I've had the food, it doesn't slow down the emptying of all of that food. So I'll have delayed gastric emptying from, let's say I take it at after the meal's over, I take it at 8:30. I'll have delayed gastric emptying from 8:30 to maybe 9:30 or 10. So magically I've taken it. I ate all of my breakfast. I didn't have any issues at all. Now I'm back to lunchtime and it's noon. All the effects have worn off. Ate my
I'm
food
still
again.
friggin' hungry. Yeah.
Ate my food again. Take this medication after the meal. You're going to get all of your calories in. It's not going to cause you to lose any weight because you did take the medication correctly. Outside of that, let's say you do take the medication correctly. And this back to our movie reference earlier. You will end up more than likely, if you had the same things you normally would eat at the movies, you will more than likely end up having to run to the bathroom because you'll be so nauseated that you feel like you're going to puke versus just being able to sit through the movie and enjoy your snacks. So that's how the delayed gastric emptying works. It's you try to put all this extra food in you and get really full really fast, like what's going on. And so what results is a reduction of calories because you can't
That's how you
eat.
lose weight. That's how you lose weight is through a caloric deficit. It's
Yeah. Ah,
weird.
it's a novel thing. It's a new approach. No one's ever done it before. But the thing that's amazing to me in for a lot of these trials, a lot of the oral ones end up causing some other anatomical problem which is what I wanted to get back to.
Yep.
There are absolute side effects of gallbladder
A
issues,
lot of pancreatitis shows
pancreas,
up. Yeah. Uh,
gallbladder,
uh,
pancreatitis, and a newer one that they were just trying to develop. I just saw when I was researching for this reason, not researching, but when I was looking up things for this uh, talk that we're having, they just ended the trial of it because it was causing liver disease, like fatty liver and some. So yeah, that makes sense.
I mean,
It's
it goes back to what I always say for anything. It's risk versus reward. Like how bad do you want to lose 5% of your body weight? Do you want liver disease to do it? Okay, have at it. Like, I don't think most people for a 5% reduction in their body weight are willing to sacrifice that.
let's see, what would 5% of my body weight currently would be about 10 pounds. What's 5% of your weight?
5% of 186. Because since I'm since I'm not able to lift except with one side of my body. Yeah, not yeah, 9.3 pounds. Like,
Right. So
huh,
right around 10
huh.
pounds. Both of us, if we really wanted to lose around 10 pounds,
I could do it in 5 weeks. Huh.
yeah, 5 weeks. If you stretched it out, you could do it in 2 months or three
Huh.
months, which is the current recommended trial time that you try one of
Right.
these drugs. So you could, again, sign up for your free meet and greet at Franchise Nutrition and Fitness. Will help guide you and support you through your journey. So that way you have behaviors that will last your lifetime to help you keep this weight off. Or you could attempt to use a GLP-1 agonist, lose a little bit of weight, and then likely regain all of it if you have not made the behavior and lifestyle modifications that you should have.
And to me, that's the most frustrating part for so many people that I've worked with, and I understand it. Like, it's really frustrating to try a keto diet or a GLP-1 or like any of these things that are not sustainable, and like you view it as a success. And I get it because you're like, because I hear it from people all the time. Hey, I lost 40 pounds on keto. I was really successful with keto. Okay, at the time you were, but why are you talking to me now? Like, it's what is your end goal? If your end goal is to drop 40 pounds really quickly because you got a competition or you want to look good for the beach or something, awesome. Most of the people we work with and most of the general population, that's not their goal. Like, your goal is typically, this is a sustainable lifestyle approach. I want to take that 40 pounds off and keep it off and look this way and feel this way for the rest of my life. And like you said, that's what we can do. We can go through lifestyle modifications that can fit into your lifestyle where you're not going to be getting up and wanting to vomit because you're having buttery popcorn and a soda at the movie theater because you're on a GLP-1.
Right. And I just want to quote this article from USA Today back in April of 2023. I shared it on the Franchise Nutrition and Fitness Facebook page. If you're not following us, go follow us there. And on other various social medias, we're at Franchise NF on everything. It is from this gentleman, or sorry, it's the lady, Dr. Kimberly Dennis, a psychiatrist who specializes in treating addictions and eating disorder. She says, this is everything that we saw with the opioid epidemic when referring to these drugs. Quote, there are people at a whole range of sizes and BMIs that are healthy when you look at the actual diseases, and weight loss drugs are not a cure for many of these folks. They have no actual illness, end quote. So people that are being recommended to be on these drugs don't actually necessarily, like, they're not type 2 diabetics. They're just, oh, we're just going to throw this weight loss drug thing out there for you and hopefully it'll help with your weight loss goal. But the greater risk, and this is again from a psychologist that scrolled too quickly through here, so I don't know their name, but they said the risk for a lot of these people is that you're going to lose this weight, you're going to end up gaining it back, feel like you're a failure, and then you're going to go to the next insert medical thing to help with your weight loss. This gentleman or lady references weight loss surgeries and those kind of things. So those are physical changes to your body that have long-term ramifications that aren't frequently talked about.
Right.
Whereas if you haven't taken the time to sit back and think about, how is your sleep? How is your stress? Are you exercising? What does that look like? How is your nutrition? Have you tracked it recently? What does that look like? And having addressed all of those things, like Matt said at the beginning, if those things aren't all on a scale of 10 out of 10, like you've done everything you possibly can to manage all of that stuff well, you should not try GLP-1. You really need to think about all those other lifestyle modifications.
Yeah, I think you brought up a really good point that a lot of people don't factor in is the mental emotional aspect of it. And like you said, of like, hey, seeing this victory on the scale of like losing 5% or maybe more, cool, awesome. And then it bouncing back and you feeling like a failure and you're not maintaining that. And the yeah, it's going to take a physical toll. It's going to take a far greater emotional toll. And then because I feel like a lot of people that want to take GLP-1s or do take GLP-1s, like they've reached a moment of desperation. Like, it's like, hey, this is how badly I want to lose weight. I am okay with taking a drug. If I eat a little too much, I'm going to have to throw up. That that to me, like that's baffling, but like it's that important to them. So to get to that point of doing that and then see a little bit of a victory and then have that victory snatched away from you because you haven't changed anything else, that would suck. So we want to be able to create a win and create a victory for you that you can last a lifetime with this through, again, lifestyle modifications that can be done for a lifetime that will fit into your lifetime, because we chronicled earlier this year when I was losing my weight. I wanted to cut weight and cut down to 185 just because I wanted to from 200. I didn't have to restrict anything. But I could have lost weight a little bit easier if I cut out alcohol completely, but I did. But I increased my cardio, and like I reached my goal and lost more weight than I would have on a GLP-1, and I've maintained it. Mostly because I've lost muscle mass after my surgery, but that's
That's a
not true.
sadness.
Yeah, that's not
That's a
true.
sad.
No, that's not true. I've actually maintained muscle mass. So like we're good.
Yeah, and either way, let's say that you are of that similar mindset that you feel like you have tried everything. There is a great chance that, honestly, and I know this might hurt your feelings, you probably haven't tried everything that's out there. Have you worked with a coach? Have you worked with a trainer? Have you tried other suggestions that they gave to you? Other things that would be helpful for you to try and manage your nutrition and fitness around those things, and also the other lifestyle modifications we talked about before with your sleep, stress, and lifestyle changes. Like, how are those things working for you? This is when you should really consider signing up at franchisenf.com and signing up for your free meet and greet. Because if you've tried, even if you have worked with another coach or another trainer and it didn't work successfully for you, then chances are there's something else that we do that they didn't do, and we can help you get to your goals.
And I think our philosophy is, yeah, the biggest selling point for that. Like like you always talk about the not being healthy food, it's healthy is your relationship with food. I think for people that's incredibly important. For my philosophy with exercise, it's like the best exercise is the one you'll actually do. Like we're not preaching burpees and keto to somebody who loves carbohydrates and has bad knees. So like,
What do you
so
mean you
like,
haven't jumped in 10 years?
it's okay. 50 burpees. What? My favorite food's rice. Keto. Like I don't eat a whole lot of meat. And I eat nothing but rice. Keto is the way you should
Yeah.
go. Like
Even if you're like, I'm a vegan, they're like, yeah, no.
keto.
Oh man.
Yeah, we can make it fit with your lifestyle. We can make it a sustainable approach. And before you try anything drastic, anything that's a last ditch effort, why not go to franchisenf.com? At the very least, sign up for a free meet and greet. Like, hey, you can tell us where you're at. We can tell you where we're coming from and see if it clicks, and then go from there and help you on your journey.
Yeah. Like I said, before you try GLP-1, head over to franchisenf.com. We can help you out. Like we say every week, maximize every bite.
Maximize every rep.